So at this point, I wouldn't really say that I'm a Christian, but I definitely do have a respect for Christianity. I definitely was raised in the church, and I have a respect for all religions and whatever people choose to believe in that makes them the best version of themselves and that kind of helps them along the way. So, this is not a slight or a disrespect to any religion or walk of life necessarily. But at this point, I kind of feel like it's foolish to believe everything that's in the Bible, and it's also foolish to disbelieve everything that's in the Bible. So I think we all have to kind of do our due diligence and I guess we'll say take the good and leave the bad. Within that, it says, that we'll perish for lack of knowledge, right? I believe that what it means to perish for lack of knowledge in this day and age is to suffer from not knowing what you're consuming, especially where things like food are concerned. There's a lot of information going around about, the chemicals in the food and the preservatives and the additives and the food coloring and the pesticides and all of these different things. And these are things that weren't necessarily meant to go into our bodies. So when we have a discussion about perishing for lack of knowledge, what if that lack of knowledge is us not knowing what we're putting in our bodies every day? That applies to food, that applies to other products that we may use, deodorant. If you don't know what's in stuff, or even if you do know what's in stuff, you read the label and it says this or that, whatever. Most of us, we're not scientists. We don't know what a lot of these things are. We don't know what they do. But therein lies the problem. If we're consuming things and we don't really know what's really in them, maybe that's where all these weird illnesses that we're having these days are coming from. We got people dying from cancer at 20 and 30 years old, or probably even younger than that. We're seeing a lot of things that I don't recall seeing when we were growing up, And so the question then becomes, where is this stuff coming from? Where are these different types of sicknesses and illnesses and diseases, and where are all of these things coming from? I kind of think it's coming from, again, the products that we're consuming, and the fact that we don't know. Maybe we should be more interested in knowing, what things really, really are. I've heard a lot of people talk about growing your own plants and growing your own fruits and veggies and all of that. That don't sound like a bad idea. But how many of us have the know-how at this point? There again, that's a lack of knowledge. I know a lot of things are different now than when we were growing up or when our parents were growing up. Where I'm from, it was kind of common to have people with a little garden in their backyard. Instead of going to the market and buying their produce, they would grow their own stuff. I think that was a good way of going about things because, unfortunately, because everybody's so greedy these days. When I say everybody, I mean, these large corporations. Because everybody's so greedy these days, everybody's figuring out ways to produce more faster. Everybody's figuring out ways to make their products last longer on the shelf. Everybody's figuring out ways to make their products look more enticing and taste better and all of these things. But that's not God's design. When God made an apple, he made it, kind of red and it had seeds in it. That's what God created, and that's what we're meant to consume. Well, if we go and we see an apple and it's candy red and shining like it got a candy paint job on it, and it doesn't have seeds, God didn't make that. Somebody kind of tampered with that. So now we have to wonder, does it have the same nutritional value? Does it have anything else in it or on it that could be harmful to me? It's a really scary time when you can think that you're doing something positive for yourself by going and buying a bunch of vegetables or going and buying a bunch of fruit. And then, you get to consuming it, and as it turns out, it doesn't have the nutritional value that you may think that it does. That's kind of scary. It's very misleading, but it's things that we should know, or we should at least try to know, right? Perishing for lack of knowledge. When we eat a lot of the meats these days, straight up, man, they're putting stuff in it, Again, they want it to have a longer shelf life. They want it to be heavier so they can get more money for it. They want it to look more enticing. So, I've heard about, colorings and colors and stuff they're putting in it to make it look a certain way. One thing I can say, I'm pretty sure, if it's not the way God designed it, if it's been tampered with in any shape or form, if it has any type of chemicals or foreign, whatever in it, there's a good chance that it has a negative side effect. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the pharmaceutical industry. A lot of the medications that we may take these days, it may get rid of your headache, but it may put ulcers on your stomach, or who knows. So there's a whole lot of different ways that this conversation can go, and there's a lot to be considered. And let me be clear, I'm no health expert. I'm just a person who's observant and out here trying to do the things that I know are best for me, because, I want to live a long time. I want to live a long life. I understand the importance of being healthy in that, because and a lot of us, we don't start thinking about these things until, we get down the line. But your health, it has a lot to do with your quality of life, So if you have a lot of ailments and things going on with you health-wise, you don't have as good of a quality of life. You're not able to get up and go when you want to. You're not able to stand for long periods of time. You're not able to eat certain foods that you may like. You're not able to go play catch with your grandkids in the front yard, or whatever it may be, when you start to have health issues. And these are things that we should all think about while we're young and while we're still in good health. So, again, I don't want to come at this as if I'm some type of health guru, because I'm not. But these are things that we should all definitely take into consideration and do our own due diligence and figure out what we're really consuming, what we're putting into our bodies, what we're putting onto our bodies, our skin and all otherwise. We talk about, some of the things that I've read, over the years about hair care products, and, some of the women, the perms and everything. That's a proven fact. They've had, certain things have been traced back to hair products and perms and all of these things. So, again, we just, a lot of those women were just doing what they felt like they needed to do for their hair. They weren't thinking about their health. So, and that's not necessarily their fault. But right now, in this moment, I'm trying to push the idea of changing the way we look at some of these things, and just asking more questions, doing more research, making sure that the products that we're using are really, really, truly to our benefit. So I challenge everyone, myself included, to again, do your due diligence. Try to learn more about what you're consuming. Try to learn more about every single thing that you're putting into your body and what effects that may have on you long term. At the end of the day, we all want to live long, healthy, beautiful lives, and that requires, or that includes, being in good health. So let's think about that, people. Eat to live. You know what I mean? Peace.